Okay, so we will start with Emile Durkheim. Now, in this session, I'll give you the basics related to Emile Durkheim. Now, once we're done with Karl Marx, now things are going to be exactly opposite of what we have discussed yesterday. Okay, so not yesterday, in the last 1 week, what we have seen in Marx, we have discussed about Marx idea about society, right? This is what the first session, and then we have discussed about mode of production or theory of historical materialism, right? I'm not going to discuss now all these things. We have done with that. Now we completely closed Marx. We are not going to discuss any more here. When we discuss about the answer writing sessions, then we can go for a recap of all these. Okay. And then, guys, we have seen theory of class and class struggle, right? And then we have discussed about alienation, and then we have discussed the critical analysis part, right? Especially the CCR part, which is related to all the theories. So complete Marxian theories we were able to critically analyze. That is what we have done in the last session. Now, what we have discussed so far, exact opposite is what we are going to see now. So we were talking about this approach, right? Conflict approach, and trying to identify the dysfunctions with respect to any social phenomena or institutions. That's what the approach we have done yesterday, till yesterday, whether it is family or inequality or anything, right? So Marx is also fundamentally talking about inequality in all his theories, especially class and class struggle. He's talking about two class and the inequality between the two sections. That's what Marx have also discussed, and Marx have seen this as antagonist cooperation, and these are not functional, right? That is the perspective that we have seen. But now onwards, we are changing the plate and we are trying to understand everything in what terms? In functional terms. So this is going to be the functional approach or the functional perspective. The use of functional perspective is what we are going to see now. So for Emile Durkheim, this is again one of the perspective, guys. Just see anything if you are getting, if they're asking you to write in a sociological way, write the positives of it, write the negatives of it. When you're writing the positives, it is nothing but the functional approach. When you're writing the negative, it is nothing but the conflict approach. So both Durkheim and Marx is coming. I'm not talking about other conflict approach and other functionalists. There are neo-Marxist, then there are Frankfurt School, and then there are critical school of thought, and then there are Marxist feminist, and all these are coming from this, right? Similarly, when we talk about functionalism, functionalism was further developed, right? Neo-functionalism is there, and then structural functional approaches there. So different other approaches there, but fundamentally, what is the core idea? You're talking about the positives, identifying the functions. You're talking about the negatives, identifying the dysfunction. So for any answer, when you're writing these two, actually your sociological perspective and answer is ready, because two important perspectives, these two. When you're simply talking about the positives and negative, it doesn't matter. You need to quote any thinker to talk about the positives and to talk about the negatives. You yourself can write, and that's going to be using these two perspectives. That's why I have told you, it doesn't matter in sociology if they're asking you analyze or comment or any such words, you are not bothered, right? Because for us, any question we need to use conflict perspective, and it will automatically become critically analyze or critically comment. Okay, so that's the idea, guys. Now here, functional terms. You already know many things about Emile Durkheim. Okay, but can you guys tell me what is the similarity between Emile Durkheim and Karl Marx? You know all the negatives, maybe so many negatives, and the contradictions between Durkheim and Marx. Yes, that's it, nine. That's correct, right? Yeah, similarity. Okay, different different people are using different terms, but actually all are one and the same, right? Both are macro sociologist. In other language, if I say, both are giving importance to society over individual. So in both case, we are using which thinker to criticize. So there is one common criticism for Marx and Durkheim now. What is that? Right? So who's this? I don't know, 1040 16 5. Guys, please use your name when you're joining. That will be better for me to identify your name. But that point is also very good. What is your name? I didn't understood that person. That, who said that evolutionary approach? So here criticism is micro. Second is, one of you were typing, I'm not able to take his name or his or her name. He's talking about both are using evolutionary approach. And some of you may not be It's me. What's your name? That's what I'm asking. It's me means I can see only some numbers. Okay, Srisha. Okay, all right. Yeah. So both are using evolutionary approach, right? So some of you may not understand how Durkheim used evolutionary approach because we have not done the theories of Durkheim. So Marx have used evolutionary approach that you can see in his theory of mode of production, primitive communism to ancient to feudal to capitalism, then to socialism and communism. That is clear-cut use of evolutionary perspective, motivated by Darwin's theory of biological evolution, and that's something which we have already discussed. Durkheim, tomorrow we are going to discuss this theory, division of labor. Now, guys, let me tell you one thing. I don't know whether I will be able to take a session tomorrow. In case if I'm not able to, we will compensate it on some other day because I'm having some commitment tomorrow and day after also. So I'll let you know in the WhatsApp group if things are fine, because I'm going to an area where network coverage will not be there. So that's the reason why. Otherwise, I could have managed it with my phone also. Okay. The problem will be with the internet. So I don't know whether I will be able to do it tomorrow, but just keep in mind, I'll update that in any way in the WhatsApp group. Okay, guys, this theory of division of labor, he's talking something about organic solidarity and mechanical solidarity. Okay, yeah, primitive society and modern society. Same, Marx also talking about primitive society and modern society. Durkheim also talk about primitive society and modern society. Both are using evolutionary approach. So if at all something common you find in Marx and Durkheim, that is this approach, they both are using macro, both are giving importance to society. Or if I want to, I can also use this word, both are positivist. Emile Durkheim was a pure positivist. Marx, if you see, I can call him to an extent as a positivist. And why I'm using the word to an extent and all, we are made it very clear in the session on positivism. If you can go back, you can see that I have written it exclusively. Marx can be considered as a positivist to an extent, right? The reason also we have explained. Then both are using evolutionary perspective. So these are the similarities. Now, guys, tell me, apart from this, what all things you know about Durkheim, right? Yeah, both are concerned with disorder, social disorder. In fact, Marx, that is not actually correct. Marx is concerned about the Marx understanding things in that way. Everything is not perfect. The complete chaos or complete disorder is there in the system. But Durkheim is of not that opinion. He wanted to maintain the social order. Durkheim never talk about disorder. Durkheim talk about, okay, things are fine. There may be some temporary problem. Durkheim was concerned about the maintenance of social order. But Marx is understanding things are already, in a disorder situation. So you need to change that through qualitative change by changing the entire mode of production. But for Durkheim, the things are different. Guys, we will discuss all these things in the coming 4-5 sessions. So you don't worry about that. Tell me, what all things you know about Durkheim? Let's talk exclusively about Durkheim. Durkheim, part of conservative reaction. Okay, that's your MA sociology knowledge, right? Scientific approach. Yes, Asmita, that is a very good point. Durkheim gave a scientific approach to study sociology. So in this context, which example you will write when he talk about scientific approach? No, that is just study, okay? Suicide, yeah, his theory of suicide is a classical exhibition of use of scientific methods or quantitative methods or statistical techniques in sociology, right? So he used, now you know all these, he used quantitative methods, especially theory of suicide, and he used statistical techniques. So that's how you can, substantiate this point. Also, he have developed methods which are very useful in sociology, and we will be discussing those also. But guys, most important point, his approach is related to something what we have discussed in the scope of sociology. When I've discussed about the scope of sociology, I've given you a point. What is the scope of sociology for Durkheim? Can anyone tell me? I think all of you can tell that. What is the scope of sociology? To study social facts, right? So his emphasis on social facts, this is what we are going to discuss today. Now, when we discuss about social facts, you will understand to what level he was concerned about, making sociology similar to natural science. So even he considered or he make a point that you have to consider social facts as things. And this is asked as a separate question time and again in mains. Social facts need to be considered as things. Even last year also they have asked. This actually shows his concern for objectivity. This shows his concern for making it similar to natural science, right? Why? Can you consider any social facts, any social institution as things? No, right? But he is saying you have to do it. How you have to do it? How can you do it? Everything I'll discuss today. Okay. Now, guys, he is very much concerned about objectivity, right? Scientific approach. He was a macro sociologist and he was a positivist. So did you guys got this much points to write an introduction? And then I have always made this point that you need to write whenever you talk about Durkheim, right? He is known as father of modern sociology. Who was a founding father of sociology? Auguste Comte. But when we discuss about Emile Durkheim, he was father of modern sociology. Weber also father of modern sociology. Okay, he gave distinctive subject matter or distinctive sociological explanation on each and every aspect, and thereby giving that initial legitimacy to the discipline. So first time pure sociological explanations you can find from Durkheim. Okay, distinctive sociological explanation, and that gave that initial legitimacy. He tried to make it similar to natural science by following the scientific approach. He himself demonstrated the use of quantitative techniques and statistical techniques in his theory of suicide. He was concerned about objectivity. For that reason, he wanted to study social facts, and social facts need to be considered as things. He was a positivist, right? Macro sociologist, he gave importance to society. Right now, will you be able to write 40 words or 30 words from this rather than looking into my PDF? I'm giving you a capsule form, whatever you need to write in your introduction, that will be there much more than this. I'll be giving you around 120, 130 words as the introduction. But will you be able to, this is what required, guys. You don't want beyond this. This is what you need in introduction. Durkheim is considered as father of modern sociology. He gave distinctive sociological explanation. He was concerned about maintenance of social order. He wanted to make it similar to natural science, and he gave scientific approach to sociology. He used and demonstrated quantitative methods in sociology, right? He wanted to study social facts. That shows his concern for objectivity. What more we need? Will you be able to write a very good introduction with this? And beyond this, I have more and more content, but even I cannot remember all those. It is there in the PDF. Once we finish this discussion, we'll move to PDF and then we'll discuss that. So this is going to be the introduction for Durkheim in all your questions related to Durkheim, whether they are asking suicide or they're going to ask division of labor, or they're going to ask about religion, or any common question related to Durkheim, or even social fact that we are going to discuss today. You need to pick 40 words from this discussion, how it need to be shaped and everything, the sentence and everything I'll give you. But I never recommend you to mug up the same sentence. Maybe one or two, you will find it very good and you may be able to do that, but not all. Okay, it should come from you. It should come spontaneously. That's when you can say that you're done with sociology, guys. Okay. So can we move forward to the actual theory that we need to discuss today? Social facts. Okay, guys, just any one of you traded with me today? Anyone from this group? Were you there in the morning session of trading? Anyone traded with me? Because I want to know whether you made a loss. I have made a loss today. So none of you were there in that morning session? Kishan was there. Okay, no, okay, all right. Yeah, okay, then no problem. No, if you are not part of the session, then no need to message. If you were part of the session, then only. Okay, you were just observing. That's great, because today was a bad day, right? If you would have entered along with me, you would have been in a loss. So that's why I just wanted to. Okay. Morning we made a profit, but then that time there was no audio. But then when I turned into loss, then I was worried that I don't know whether you might have entered trade with me. That's why I just asked. Okay, so let's start with this theory of social facts, guys. Okay, I'll give you the definition. right? And this definition, you have nothing to do, just cut, copy, paste this definition. So the question will be direct from social fact. Even last year also they have asked question. So the social facts, guys, social facts means everything. You see anything in society, it is actually social fact, whether it is religion or family or any social institutions, marriage or crime or inequality, judicial system or political system, or anything you see in society, it is social fact. So you know now that everything is social fact. Anything, any social institution, any social phenomena, all are social facts. But then what we need is a definition. So Durkheim defines social facts as the social facts are the ways of, just mug it up, okay, ways of acting, thinking, and feeling. Okay, social facts are the ways of acting, thinking, and feeling, which are external to individual. I'm just writing external to you, means external to individual. So social facts are the ways of acting, thinking, and feeling. The way you act, the way you think, the way you feel, all these are related to social facts. The social facts are the ways of acting, thinking, and feeling, which are external to individual. That means it is kept aside from you. It is external. It is not within you. External to individual, and they are endowed with the power of coercion. So they possess a power of coercion. There is a coercive power. That means these social facts have a coercive power. They can make you do anything. For example, family have a coercive power, and maybe because of family only you're preparing for this exam, or maybe because of family only you're going for a job, right? Maybe because of religion only you are doing certain things, right? So they have a power of coercion by the reason of which they control over him. So this definition is going to be very simple. I'll give you the definition. Just mug it up. Guys, in Thinkers, there are some definitions that you need to learn. What I'll do is I have actually recorded these definitions which you need to remember. So it will come around, total around 10 minutes. You can just keep on listening to these recordings and automatically it will be there in your mind and you will never forget it. When you're walking or when you're going to gym or anytime, you can just listen to that. I'll share that later. Okay. So social facts are the ways of acting, thinking, and feeling, which are external to you, okay, which will be away from you, and they have a power of coercion. There is a coercive power. That coercive power will make you do anything, okay, and they will control you. I'll repeat it. Social facts are the ways of acting, thinking, and feeling, which are external to individual and have a power of coercion by the reason of which they control over him. So whatever you do, it all because of some external pressure. Somebody is controlling you. It could be family, it could be religion, it could be any social, it could be marriage, it could be any social institution. You got it? So that is what simply you mean by social facts. Now the next thing that we need to look for is characteristics of social facts. Now some of the characteristics you can directly get it from the definition itself. This is something, this external. So the first characteristics is actually its externality. So social facts are external to individual, which are not inside you, right? This is kept away from you and you have no control over that. Second, there is a coercive power. That means, I'll put it in this way, constrain. That is another characteristic. Social facts are having, social facts have a constraining power on you. So they can constrain you from doing certain things. Because of fear of God, you may not do certain things. Because of family, you may not do certain things, right? Because of this systems, which are social phenomena or social institutions, you may not do certain things. You may do certain things. So it is having a constraining influence over the individual. Third characteristic is its individuality. Yeah, I'll come to that. Generality, I'll come to that. First, I have taken these two, which you can directly find from the definition. That's why I took these two first. In the PDF, you may find in a different order. But here, guys, when I'm discussing in the class, I'm taking it from the definition so that these two, anyway, I got, right? Then other two I'll discuss. Individuality means they have their own individuality. They come into existence their own. It is not that family is created by you. Okay, it will be coming into existence its own with the autonomous development of society. When society develops, then at a point of time, there is a need for family. That's when family come. Similarly, when society develops, there is a need for religion. That's when religion comes. Similarly, when society develops, there is a need for division of labor. That's how this division of labor comes. So all these are social facts All these are having its own individuality, and that comes into existence its own with the autonomous development. This word you need to use, guys, it may be used here, or I write the next one generality there also, I may write the same thing, but that doesn't matter. Okay, can you see this what I'm writing here, or I'm not able to see in the screen? Okay, so what I'm saying is social facts are having individuality, social facts are general in nature, right? And then what I told is, yeah, so it will come into existence. This is the key point, guys. Anything, whether it is crime, whether it is family, whether it is religion, suicide, or division of labor, inequality, everything, use this like this, exactly like this. Social facts will come into existence with the autonomous development of society. Society develop, it will come into existence, and it is having its own life. Guys, at the point of time, this family may get wiped out. It is having its own life. Yeah, it came with the development of society, then joint family, then that is gone, nuclear family, and it will be gone later. There may not be any family system. You don't know, right? With the way society moves, you don't know. Now maybe live in relation, or then different types of system will come. Similarly, with respect to religion, right? All social facts are like that. Social facts will come into existence with the autonomous development of society, and it is having its own life. And you will use this word, social facts are sui generis. Did you guys ever heard this word before? Did you guys ever use this word before in polity? Polity, you might have heard this, right? When you discuss about this federalism, the concept related to federalism in India, it's federalism sui generis. It came into existence its own, having both features, right? It is unique in itself. Indian federalism is not like what US and what the other setup, right? It is not that unitary. It is not that complete in that way. So it is not completely federal. So it is sui generis, right, in the Indian structure. Similarly, social facts are sui generis. It is unique. It comes into existence its own. All right. So these are the characteristics. Now, what the next point is, he also gives some rules to study social facts. So the first is the most important rule, that is the rule of observation. Okay. Now, how to observe social fact, guys? How to observe religion? How to observe family? How to observe division of labor? This is very difficult, right? But even then, what Durkheim says is you have to consider social facts as things. This is from where they have picked up the question. The question was like the social facts need to be considered as things, discuss, elaborate, critically analyze. The question is from where? Social fact. So you need to write all the things that we have discussed and then come to this. From here only the question is picked. So then you need to elaborate on this. Why he's saying you need to consider it as things, right? Because natural science, he wanted to make it similar to natural science. Natural science study matter, means things like physical object. So you have to consider these also as physical object. What is the advantage then? You can use scientific methods. You can ensure objectivity, because he is already wanted to make it similar to natural science, right? So when science study matter, science study the things, you should also consider these as things. Now, what will be the question here? How can you consider it as things, right? That is a big problem. Then what he says is, it is not difficult, but it is difficult, but it is not impossible, right? So he gave this concept of something called as collective representation. Now, collective representation means, it may be difficult for you to observe like, for example, religion or family or marriage as things, but it can be felt objectively. You cannot see things like physical object, but you can feel it like objectively. How? There are certain collective representation. What do you mean by collective representation? These are in the nature of some symbols. Are you guys getting me? Like when you see religion, we don't know religion exists or not, but how we can conclude that religion exists? We see certain symbols, maybe some idols in the temple. What does that mean? There is a religion exists there. Or when you see the church, when you see the masjid, or when you see the temple, all these are what you call as collective representation. All these are giving you the signal or the symbol that the institution of religion is present. So the existence of these symbols are showing the existence of the social fact. That's the approach he called it. Again, if you see, what is it called, right? This marriage, a woman wearing the sindoor, right? What does that indicate? The marriage as an institution is existing. Like that, you will see some collective representation. It could be in the form of some symbols, and that will help you to understand the presence of a particular social fact. So his stress on considering social facts as things shows his concern for objectivity. These are key points that you need to write in your answer. Okay, but what he says ultimately, you need to consider it as things so that you can ensure objectivity. You can use scientific methods. You can, study impersonal, means there will not be any subjective bias or anything. It is difficult, but how can you make it? Through this collective representation. If you find the existence of these symbols, it shows the existence of that particular social fact. Then there are other rules also, but this is the most important rule. Then there is another rule, rule of distinction. Rule of distinction means, guys, there are two situations, right? There will be normal situation, and then there will be abnormal situation. When Durkheim says crime is normal, in what situation? There is a normal situation. Crime is functional. There are normal situations, then some small crimes and petty crimes are happening. It is functional because then only the system will function. But so much of crimes every time, everywhere, that is abnormal situation. That's not functional. So you need to make a distinction between normal and pathological form always. That is very important. And you will see in all his theories, you will see the distinction of normal and pathological form. With his theories, I can elaborate more on this. Third is, he says there has to be a proper classification. You make classification before you make any study. It could be general, it could be specific. So make the classification. And then the fourth one is generalization. Generalization means you make theory. Generalization of explanation. Rules of explanation. The actual rule is rules of explanation. How you explain? Through generalization. What do you mean by generalization? The explanation should be through theories. This is something which we already know from positivism and everything. They are concerned about making theories objectively and all these things, right? So these are the four rules: rules of observation, rules of distinction, rules of classification, rules of explanation. Okay, this is the most important one. Rules of explanation, mainly explanation should be through theories, which are supposed to be testable and replicable. Okay, did you guys understood what all things we have discussed? Simple. Let me quickly go for a recap, then we will move to the PDF, and then things will be more clear. Guys, these are the important areas. Once you are clear with these, just like what we did in Marx, the first session, the idea of society, same is the case here, the concept of social fact. If you understood this, everything else what we are going to discuss in the coming sessions are related to social facts only. Division of labor, it's a social fact. Religion, that's what we are going to do next day, social fact. Then we do suicide, that is also we discuss the theory of suicide, not we are going to do suicide. That's also what is a social fact. Okay, any doubts here? So what is social facts? Social facts are the ways of acting, thinking, and feeling which are external to individual and are endowed with the power of coercion by the reason of which they control over him. Right? Any point of time, you should be very clear with all the definition. That is something which you need to have control over, and you should be writing it properly. What are the characteristics? Simple. Two characteristics you can directly get from the definition: externality and constraint. Then generality and individuality. What are the rules? Rules of observation, distinction, classification, and explanation. We are done with this theory. Can we move to the PDF now? Okay, so whatever we have discussed in the beginning, that's what I have given as the introduction here. Okay, and then we are moving to social facts. So the definition will come here. This is the definition that we have discussed. Social facts are the ways of acting, thinking, and feeling which are external to individual and are endowed with the power of coercion by the reason of which they control over him. Guys, whenever you write a definition, do it like this, centralize like this, inverted comma, you need to write. Okay. Now let's start with the introduction. Everything that we have discussed, guys, it is always better for you to write in your own language. Okay. Durkheim was considered as one of the founding fathers of modern sociology, and we use the same sentence whenever we write an answer related to Max Weber also. Durkheim was considered to be the first sociologist